Chapter 2, May 22nd, 2012. I wanted to be the one to call Stephanie. I wanted to be in the right frame of mind and being when I spoke to her. But on Tuesday, May 22nd, 2012, just before lunch as I sat at my desk at work, she called me. I knew from the tone of the word hello that the baby I was carrying, the baby that was not planned, the baby whose father, my fiancé Rex, was retreating from me and now us, for reasons I would not understand for another 2 years. I knew from the one word that this baby had an extra 21st chromosome. When the call ended, I stood up from my desk and walked as fast as I could to my car, praying I would not pass anybody in the office along the way. When I got in the car, I drove aimlessly and sobbed uncontrollably. I called Rex to tell him the news. He confirmed that he would not be able to commit to being a part of this baby's life, with the 1,000 miles between us, his 2 boys, and the issue that was unknown to me at the time. I spent my lunch crying in the parking lot of the grocery store. Then I pulled on every ounce of strength I had to get back to work. I was in the middle of a 6-week consulting project and needed every bit of that income. I'd been a single mother at that point for 10 years, with little financial and day-to-day support. I worked as a freelance writer and project manager in order to have the flexibility to be home with my girls after school, attend Suzuki strings lessons, transport them to and from activities, shop for and prepare healthy snacks and meals, and be present with them. Finances had become tight, to say the least, and I was getting tired. Thankfully, my daughters were with their father that night. This gave me the ability to process the news. By myself at home, I felt such despair. I felt so alone. The prospect of bringing Riley into the mix of our lives did not add up when looking at it from a purely logical standpoint, with or without an extra chromosome. Every single one of the logical factors pointed toward not having the baby. What would be the health of the baby? The only thing I knew about Down syndrome was that there's a wide range of possibilities when it comes to both physical and intellectual abilities. What if the child's needs would preclude me from being able to work? How would I support the 4 of us? What would be the impact on my daughters of their mother having this baby? How would we be treated in the small suburb where we lived? Did I have the energy to keep up with being a single mother given these circumstances? How would people treat a child with disabilities? I wanted, no, desperately needed to talk to someone. I racked my brain to try to think of someone who would understand me, not the fear-laden version of me that was processing this news. I didn't want to share the genetic testing results with family and friends. If I was going to keep this baby, I wanted to get to and remain in a state of complete love. I would have 22 more weeks with the baby enveloped in my energy field. I wanted my energy to be fear-free for that time and hopefully beyond. Telling others would make it impossible for me to hold my desired vibrational level. I would undoubtedly absorb their inevitable fear. Who would see things from my perspective with the beliefs I held and not let fear of future possibilities get in the way of making this decision? Who understands that we have the power to influence the future and the power to consciously create it? The answer came. During my years of finding myself, seeking truth, and developing my spiritual connection, I had followed and believed in the teachings of Bruce Lipton. I'd seen a video a year or so prior to my pregnancy with Riley in which he described observing identical DNA strands form different types of matter. For example, the DNA in one instance in a lab developed into muscle tissue, while the identical DNA in another became bone. The only difference between the two, he determined, was the energy surrounding each of them. In what had evolved into a highly fatigued, numb state after hours of fear and tears, I sent the following to Mr. Lipton on a wing and a prayer via the contact form on his website. The complete text of my inquiry to him was as follows. Do you believe I can influence the genetic makeup of the 18-week-old fetus I am carrying? I was told today that the baby has Down syndrome, based on an amniocentesis test. After hitting submit on the form, I looked up at the muted television through my tears and saw Philip Phillips on American Idol. It was the first of a 2-night season finale. I had seen him on the show and liked him, so I turned up the volume. He was singing the song Home. Hold on to me as we go, as we roll down this unfamiliar road. And although this wave is stringing us along, just know you're not alone, 'cause I'm going to make this place your home. As he sang, I cried, but this time it was for a different reason. The words landed with a knowing that there was a message for me. It took a little bit to get the message. My mind thought that the lyrics represented me saying to the baby that I would make this place his home, but that didn't feel quite right. I listened on. Settle down, it'll all be clear. Don't pay no mind to the demons, they fill you with fear. The trouble, it might drag you down. If you get lost, you can always be found. Just know you're not alone, 'cause I'm going to make this place your home. Then I realized what the message was telling me. It was the baby telling me that he was going to make this place, this world, my home more than it had ever been before. When I cleared away all the fear that came up that day and night, I once again tuned into my intuition. My inner guidance told me to have the baby, despite the stacks of reasons why many would think I shouldn't have carried through with it. After that one night of not knowing what to do, I found peace and an absolute knowing by the next morning. I haven't looked back since. 9 days later, I received a lengthy and extremely gracious reply to the inquiry I sent to Bruce Lipton. The knowing I felt was reinforced by his response, which expanded on the information I'd studied and gave me the gift of something I'd never heard before. From Bruce Lipton, subject, Down syndrome question, date May 31st, 2012. Dear Julie, in regard to the question, can one influence the genetic expression of fetuses in utero? The answer is simply yes. The nourishment that provides for the growth of the fetus is derived from the mother's blood. However, there's a lot more in blood other than nutrients. The brain releases signaling molecules, hormones, growth factors, emotional chemistry, into your blood to control your behavior, genetics, and emotions. The point is, those same signaling chemicals pass into the placenta and affect fetal behavior and genes in the same way they affect you. Firstly, I am guessing that the news from your doctor, the diagnosis and especially the prognosis, were emotionally taxing for you, so that the neurochemistry released into the blood by negative consciousness was or still is influencing fetal development as well. Secondly, your mentation, thoughts, in envisioning the future, based on this prognosis, leads to the secretion of fetal-influencing neurochemicals that will biochemically complement your belief. This will be a negative influence in your baby's development. The medical prognosis you received was likely a significant downer to both you and your fetus. Therefore, the most important thing you can do is start to focus on the positive influence your heart and mind can generate, for the chemistry derived from being positive crosses the placenta and will encourage a more positive biological response from the fetus. Through epigenetic mechanisms, your perceptions of the environment are turned into neurochemicals that enter the womb and affect fetal genes. Yes, your positive outlook can provide a profoundly life-enhancing environment for your child. Can trisomy be reversed? My guess is that when enough people share the belief it can, it will. But there is a hard conscious perception held by the majority of people around you that will doubt that outcome. Even Jesus couldn't do his miracles in his own hometown because the people there didn't believe in him. Note, this was the thing I didn't know prior to this email. It gave me the extra courage to do what I knew was the best thing for the baby and ultimately for my girls and me. Back to the email. But your intentions, heartfelt desires, and positive consciousness can provide a neurochemistry that will be profoundly beneficial in supporting your child's health and development. Very important, your conscious mind expresses your wishes and desires, such as a positive future for your child. Your subconscious mind plays programs, the most fundamental of which you acquired before 6 years of age, from observing your parents, family, and community. The fundamental subconscious programs do not necessarily support your wishes and desires because they came from others. An important point is that for most people, the subconscious program acquired as a child holds that the doctor is the professional that knows about health and you don't. This means the subconscious will manifest behavior that will agree with the diagnosis, while your personal/creative conscious mind will generate behavior that supports a positive outcome. Note, thankfully, I've never believed doctors or others know more about my body or my health than me. Back to the email. The subconscious mind operates our behavior 95% of the time and is 1 million times more powerful in information process. The point is that your positive conscious influence will only be expressed about 5% of the time, and if the beliefs in the subconscious are not supporting your wishes and desires, this can be a big problem. Very importantly, over the years, I have seen many reports on reversing the nature of Down syndrome using special diets and/or supplements, especially early in life. I have seen that some of these efforts led to children that have Downs genetically but don't manifest it in bodily expression. Again, the new science of epigenetics offers a new vision and a new world of hope. Environmental signals can alter the readout of a gene so as to produce thousands of variations. These variations have been shown to make healthy genes cause disease and to allow mutant genes to be read as normal. The future is not cast in concrete unless your thoughts are cast in concrete. Miracles are the manifestations of belief. With love and light, Bruce. The information shared in that email applies to all of us. The way we think and feel affects our health and physical expression, among many other things, even things we think of as unchangeable. The decision to have Riley utilized all of the truth-seeking, absorbing, and implementing I had experienced since beginning my journey back to myself 10 years earlier. I'd come a long way from the disconnected state in which I started living from the age of 4 or 5. All of the information gathering about how life really works, about myself, and about health and well-being came into play. All of the healing allowed for a greater alignment between my subconscious programming and my conscious mind, and it made my inner voice louder and clearer. At times, even we can't see with logic or other tangible, provable means what is the best path for us to take. In times like this, and always, it is our connection to our inner voice that gives us the guidance that we seek. That connection is at full throttle when we are in a state of love, void of fear, and when we heal our emotional wounds. There is something in every moment of every day, helping you make the best decision for you. Unknown source, believed to be Carolyn Myss. I'm not sure that's the exact quote, but it's one of the profound pieces of information that came early in my journey back to myself. I have found it to be very true.